This week, a very special double-length Blotter segment, a little bit of off-site news, and a look ahead at the next year for the SCP Wiki. Since our last episode, President Donald Trump dramatically ripped off his dull orange vinyl mask to reveal that he was secretly Elon Musk the whole time. And he's going to get away with it too. There's nothing you meddling kids can do about it.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Noli, the K is silent, and this is SCP Weekly.
What have we been up to over the last 2 months?
Too much to cover here. Mainly just work. We've already got a long episode today, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go into a whole lot of it. It's just work, mainly. Just work. What else is new?
I will. Fuck. Yeah, coming out of the holidays. So my degree program, just because of the way the funding is structured,
Yeah.
and because I already have a degree, I had to use all of my previous credits to come in to cover my electives. So, basically, I have no electives. I'm just taking the core classes for this degree program that I'm in. What that means is I get no writing classes. So I have a ton of writing classes for my previous degree, but they're all either research writing or technical writing. No creative writing. So to fill the gap, I started looking for creative writing programs, and I found and got accepted into the comedy sketch writing program at the Second City, like the Second City, Chicago. I don't have to go to Chicago, it's their online program, but I was like, cool, writing classes, 7-week courses, done, I'm in it. Great class, amazing class. What I didn't do was look ahead at what the program actually is. It's this 40-week program, and I'm saying this because I'm not a quitter. I'm the kind of person that, even though I didn't look ahead and now I'm like, I'm fucked, boys, this is the kind of thing that I'll just fucking press on and do. By the end of this program, I and my cohort will be writing and casting an entire 90-minute sketch comedy review that will be performed at the Second City main stage in Chicago. Yeah, like real shit. And that's it's 40 weeks, so by the end of the year, probably like late fall. So that was a what the fuck did I get myself into moment that I had over the last couple of months. But then 8833 1979 for Unredacted is almost ready to go out the door. This week it should be coming out, and we're casting Fuckhead. We'll cast Fuckhead this week. Scripting Jade for Unredacted, working on another original audio drama project. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 audio drama projects in the pipe. Working at school on my portfolio project. It's the 16-week course. The final project for this course will be the portfolio project. Working my other class right now is literally a podcast class. So I'm working on a podcast project, 15-minute podcast project. Yay. In that class right now, and working on a casting promo for my local community theater. And actually yesterday morning drove out to another city to get some prop pieces for my local community theater, and in the process actually met apparently there is a very active local professional wrestling community here. And a lot of those guys also are local filmmakers, so actually got to meet some people who are making movies here locally and talking to them and trading numbers and everything. So yeah, really fucking busy over the last 2 months. two D&D campaigns. Everybody check out Years Presents. And then started DMing. I DM'd my first campaign with my wife and kid. They were like, "What? We want to know what this is that you've been playing." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So we started playing the Dragon of Ice Spire Peak, and we did our first session this week. It went really, really, really well.
Nice
for them. So, yeah.
We had our next session with Dr. Sumerian's campaign last night. Bolgan was supposed to join us for this, but apparently there's a big storm going on in Ireland where like 1 million people have apparently lost power, which for those unaware, Ireland has like only like fucking 5 million people, I think. So that's like a huge fucking problem for the storm. But, you know, Volgan let him know ahead of time that was going on, so he's probably going to be able to join us next week, though.
That's very cool. Number one, that Volgan is joining your campaign. Number two, that Volgan is joining your campaign because, like, he's historically kind of been a reclusive dude. Like, he doesn't get out and do stuff like that. So, really cool for you guys that you get to play with the Volgan, but really cool for the Volgan for kind of stepping out into the community and doing stuff like that. It's cool to see him get out. It's been a while since he's done anything like that.
Yeah, since he wasn't able to be there, Sim tried to like introduce his character a little bit because currently in the campaign we are playing in like a train heist, fucking Ocean's 11 style. Because we are desperately needing parts for our ship to either fight or escape this kind of like massive eldritch horror that's like, you know, devouring entire civilizations. And conveniently, one part is going to be on this train, and so we accept a like guards job from a local company, Marsh, Cartier, and Doc. Since their train car is going to be right next to the train car that we need to get the part from. And we basically met with them and they were like signing a contract because they're like demon adjacent. So they had a literal like devil come in, or not a devil, more like I think it was like an imp, basically come in with a contract, an imp named Harry, which Harry Blank in our campaign, he fucking loved that. And his way of imp for communicating is that he can't speak verbally, so he speaks telepathically, except he's always fucking yelling every word that he says.
Oh, Jesus.
So you're just having some guy like yell at the top of his lungs in your head whenever he's talking to you. And basically
that's a lot of nuts.
Yeah, exactly. And essentially, part of our contract was like a sort of like clause where if you break the contract in any way, then Marsh, Cartier, and Dark essentially own your immortal soul, and you have a select amount of time to pay off that debt before, you know, they own it forever. And they basically give a rundown for how much each of our souls costed. Harry, who is sort of the de facto leader of the group, even though he doesn't want to be whatsoever, his soul costed 25,000 gold because he's already died once and came back, so he's not technically supposed to be here, so his soul is worth a lot more. Then our cleric, I think, is like worth like 2,000. Our sorcerer is worth 2,500. Our tiefling rogue is worth 6,666 gold. And then my soul was worth 1/12,000 gold. Let me just repeat that. 1/12,000th of a gold piece. Fucking, I didn't know how to take that.
Like you can
like
hand
there's
him a
a
copper piece and wait for change.
Yeah, it's like because it's like, okay, there's a reason in universe because my character is technically a clone, And in this world, when you're cloned, you're essentially, each clone is made up with a fraction of this original soul that the person is cloned from. So, you know, there's essentially like thousands of other clones that were made. So I only have like a tiny little sliver. So apparently I'm not worth much.
Yeah.
And to add insult to injury, out of curiosity, some of the others were like wanting to know like an NPC that's with us who is like this undead barbarian that are cleric and one party member who used to be with us but had to leave the last few weeks, our wizard essentially took a skeleton and a like gelatinous flesh blob, mixed them together and made this like undead barbarian guy who's not been alive for little more than a week in game, and his soul is worth 45,000 gold.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oof.
A zombie barbarian who's not been alive more than a week is worth infinitely more than me, apparently.
Ouch.
No, I'm not. Like,
yeah, I mean, because your backstory and everything, like,
yeah,
if there's 12,000 different clones of you or however many,
yeah,
like, it makes mathematical sense.
Yeah, plus it's like, my character has like main character syndrome, so he's like a real douchebag about it. So Sim has a lot of fun like being an ass towards him because he kind of deserves it. But yeah, he also introduced Volgan's character. Didn't give him any speaking lines because he wasn't gonna like speak for him when Volgan wasn't there. But his character is like a halfling that was with the crew of like Marsh, Cartier, and Doc when we were getting our contract signed. He's like a halfling who has like a mechanical arm that's clearly like way too big for his body. That's like covered in runes.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and he also apparently Sim was also talking about how like having like a session 0 with Volgan recently for it, and apparently he was talking about how like one of the towns in the game sounds a whole lot like his actual hometown, like by name essentially.
Oh shit.
And so he has his character essentially wear a pin that's essentially the Irish flag, but the colors are reversed. That's essentially like, oh, that's just your hometown flag and everything. Which I thought was cool. He actually also shared like artwork apparently Volgan made of the character as well, which was pretty cool.
Blender art.
Yeah. And then the only good role I had that the only role I made period in that session.
Oh, I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Of essentially like the ironic thing was like Sim was like making fun of like how, you know, rolling a 30 is essentially like a god tier roll. So and we were rolling like insight, whether it's like these people were gonna fuck us over, and I have pretty good insight. I have like plus 11 on insight. So I'm like, hey, can I roll 2? And Sim's like, I mean, yeah, you can. I roll it, it's a 29. And our cleric decides like, oh, I'm gonna cast guidance and give him a little extra as well. And he's like,
Shoot.
I'm not even gonna make you roll for guidance. It's just gonna be a 30 no matter what. And so flabbergasted by that, Sim literally has me get divine intervention.
Damn.
Of like the god my character is a champion for, like essentially like come talk to me, basically saying like, hey, just letting you know, not all these guys are assholes. Apparently the imp who was like making the contract is actually more so on our side, in the sense that he's like trying to work against the massive eldritch horror that's like coming our way, and essentially giving hints that like Volgan's character, the halfling in the crowd, is going to become, isn't yet, but is going to become another champion of the gods. So essentially keep a lookout for him.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I was just like,
cool.
Yeah, and my character was like, this is actually the most positive interaction I think we've had so far. And my god was like, yeah, you gotta give a little to take a little later. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
Was he like, well, kind of finally for once you're not being a little shit?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I mean, I decided that, for once you're not acting like, a greedy little fucker that thinks everything's about him. So I figure, I'll throw you a bone.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do? Is it DM? Like, what do you, like, fuck 30? All right. I wasn't even, like, I didn't even have lines prepared for that. Like,
yeah, like almost almost immediately
30
following
type thing.
Yeah, almost immediately following Sim, like laying down, like saying how it's like it'll be near impossible for us to get like a 30, and then I roll it almost immediately. A little help from the cleric as well with guidance, but you know. Yeah.
Guidance will do that. All right, we have a mile of blotter to get through. You want to go ahead and jump into that? So much blotter.
Hell yeah.
All right. Due to the fact that we didn't cover blotter in December, we have 2 months worth of it to get through today. Site members Moeo, Roxy, Chicken Doodle Dandy, Flower Bridge Com Taxi have all been banned after staff concluded they were sock puppet accounts owned by author Nightfall. It's like Nightfall with an X where the A goes, due to them having done essentially nothing other than upvote Nightfall's articles. Later, one of Nightfall's articles was summarily deleted after staff concluded it was AI generated. Site member SEC the acronym, who, as we noted in our last blotter segment, was issued a warning for posting long, immaturely worded, and low-quality feedback to the critique forums, has had their membership revoked for continuing to do so. Site member Cobalt Guy had their membership revoked for backseat modding after replying to another user's goal post with an excessively authoritative comment. They also added non-existent tags to their own page and posted an incomplete article to the main site. They reapplied and rejoined the site, only to receive a permanent ban for repeated AI use.
Site member Multi-Monster had their membership revoked for posting several low-quality cold posts, 2 of which were identical to one another. They later replied to a standard deletions notice message with, "Wow, I don't give a fuck." This resulted in a permanent ban. Not surprised. Staff issued repeated warnings to site user Opposer, who, in the last 6 months they have been on the wiki, has repeatedly engaged in backseat modding by replying to other users with overly authoritative and sometimes incorrect reminders of site rules. This behavior has continued in the face of multiple requests by staff that it stop. Staff have elected to issue one final warning and stated that they intend to ban Opposer for any similar offenses going forward. Site member Isaiah Zay Stafford has had their membership revoked for spam and immaturity after repeatedly posting extremely short guidelines violation threads to the Idea Critique forums. Site member Horn Raptor Proxy had their membership revoked for spamming the draft critique forums with multiple threads for the same draft, a draft which had not gone through the greenlighting process required for new authors. Site member The Rocking Gamer has received a year-long ban for immaturity after spamming the site with multiple low-quality cold posts, one of which contained the paragraph, "Not much is known about this anomaly. It is mostly unable to be seen because it literally bends the fabric of space and time, so us staff don't have information. We do know this because portals have been summoning all over its cage for the past couple of months. All information we do have is very private and will not be shared with the public." From the SCP Foundation. After these pages reached the deletion threshold, the Rockin' Gamer repeatedly requested they not be deleted by staff, saying they had worked very hard on them.
Site member Gary Corona received an emergency permaban for sock puppeting after staff concluded they were using at least 5 other accounts to upvote their own pages in order to keep them above the deletion threshold. The 5 suspected sock puppet accounts have also been banned. Site member, Quaxdotwaf?
Quaxdotwaf?
Quaxdotwaf has had their membership revoked for that name for reposting a previously deleted cold post whose description section read, SCP-8982 appears to be a phone constantly open to an anime girl who seems to be about 16 to 17 years of age. SCP-8982 is emitting a nya? Footnote. Nya is the sound that anime catgirls make. End footnote. Sound at all times. There is no power nor volume triggers. SCP-8982 has a battery that lasts exactly 2,000 hours. Site member Dr. Bagel had their membership revoked for a number of minor offenses, including backseat modding and making several low-quality cold posts, one of which had an extremely immature tone and revolved around Drs. Clef, Gears, and Elias Shaw conducting several tests with SCP-914. They added several non-existent tags to this page, including flesh, lot of tags, tag spam, and please upvote. Dr. Bagel apologized after receiving a warning for their behavior.
Site member Kai Ways received a week-long ban for plagiarism after posting an article that borrowed conceptual material from and used a copyrighted image created by renowned horror artist Trevor Henderson, a horror artist best known for being the creator of Siren Head. Henderson is not an SCP creator, and his work is not available under the Wiki's Creative Commons license. Though bans for plagiarism are usually permanent, Kai Ways was given a more lenient punishment due to the lack of malicious intent inferred from the fact that they credited Henderson in their author post. Well, I mean, that was nice at least.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Trevor Henderson. He's a fucking awesome dude. Staff have noted that site member Miriam Mistoth? Okay, I'll go with it. Staff have noted that site member Miriam Mistoth has sent an inordinate number of crit requests to site staff members Zin and Zubini, and has persisted in doing so in the face of repeated requests that they stop. Miriam has been sent more than 30 PMs to these users alone, and staff suspect that more users might have been subjected to similar behavior. The user eventually received a membership revoke. After a conversation with Zin regarding best practices for writers seeking crit, they have reapplied and rejoined the site. Site member The Burning had their membership revoked for posting a page entitled SCP-8352 Miles Morales, which consisted entirely of the words, "Nah, I'ma do my own thing," in plain text on top of a picture of Miles Morales as portrayed in the Spider-Verse films, though whether the picture is a still from the movies or a piece of fan art is unclear. Staff have noted that this user has posted other nearly blank pages in the past. I will say I do like that name though. Site member Wise Peanut received a warning for vehemence after leaving an extremely long and overly antagonistic negative comment on author Poofy Poofson's recently posted 001 proposal. Wide Peanut was far from the only user to dislike this article, which currently stands at a net total of +2, with 49 upvotes and 49 downvotes, 96 votes in total. It was later brought to staff's attention that White Peanut had, in rapid succession, downvoted every single page authored by Poofy Poofson, including their author page. As a result, they received a permanent ban for malicious downvoting. Fuck you, Poofy is a fantastic person.
Site member John White Sack received a permanent ban for vandalism after editing the Series 9 main list to change the title of SCP-8100 from Turtle Time to Skibbity Time. Their motives for doing so are unknown. Users Dr. L. Garwood and Dr. H. Brady had their membership applications declined because moderators believe them to be the same person. When confronted with this accusation, Dr. H. Brady replied, "Please, the Dr. H. Brady, and the other is my friend Lucas. Sorry if you thought they wear the same account." Staff were unconvinced and issued permanent bans to both accounts. Site member Mr. Crab received a permanent ban for vandalism after overriding another user's article with an article of their own. Mr. Crab later attempted to rejoin the site using another Wikidot account with the same name. The application was rejected and the account was banned for ban evasion. Site member Gzilla1954, Gzilla 2023, Benson 8139, and Shadow Knight 8000 have been banned for sock puppeting and vote manipulation after staff concluded that they were the same person due to having little activity besides upvoting each other's articles and downvoting articles their shared owner disliked, including SCP-8000.
Site member K Blacka, I don't know if that is, I'm just going to say it like that, was banned for a long-term pattern of excessive, abrasive, and overly familiar comments on the SCP Wiki's official Discord. Site member Anara Verex was permanently banned for posting a troll article. Site staff are currently considering their appeal. Site member Certified Bra Moment was permanently banned after vandalizing the Series 9 main list. Site member Shall We? Yes We Shall has their membership revoked for posting low-quality entries to the SCP-914 logs and posting a straight-up Nazi to the log of anomalous items. According to staff, this author has been repeatedly attempting to get this particular original character onto the wiki. For clarity, there is no direct evidence that Shall We? Yes We Shall themselves, who has posted multiple successful works of visual art to the site, is a Nazi. Only this fictional character they created. Shall We? Yes We Shall received a membership revoked, has been barred from contributing to collaborative log pages, and was warned that further rule breaking would result in a permanent ban. They stated their intention to delay reapplying for site membership until their next draft was done. They have since reapplied and rejoined the site. Author Sir/47, who has been a member of the site for several years and has written 18 SCPs and 6 tales, has received a permanent ban for bigotry after posting extreme Islamophobic conspiracy theories on Twitter. The relevant posts seem to have been deleted, but Sir Slash has stated that they pertain to the grooming gang scandal that has been unfolding in England, and that they can see in retrospect that tweets were indeed Islamophobic. Sir Slash has the option to appeal this ban in the future.
I just want to pop in with a little bit of clarity on that one. And I had it pulled up, but I closed it. I didn't see the tweets in question, but the grooming gang scandal, that it's not currently unfolding in England. That was something that happened. The news story broke in like 2011. Like, this is old news. The thing actually, like, this actually happened. It was young girls being trafficked for sex by a group of older men. Fact, history happened. They were primarily British men of Pakistani descent. Fact, history happened. And it was allowed to happen and go on for as long as it did because the government and the police failed to investigate the victims' claims. Fact, history happened. I didn't see the tweets in question. I don't know what exactly Sir Slash's tweets contain. The reason that this has become a big stupid deal in 2025 is Elon Musk is now talking about it. And he's using it as a political boxing gloves because the new Prime Minister of Britain was a prosecutor during that time. And Elon Musk is taking pot shots at them. Whether what Elon is saying and the accusations that Elon is making is true or not, I can't speak to it. I don't care what Elon is saying. And the reason that I'm kind of putting this clarification out here is in respect to the victims, because they're getting dragged back through the mud now that everything is being brought back to light again. Out of respect to the victims, the grooming gang scandal itself is not an extreme Islamophobic conspiracy theory. That happened. So, if anybody is like up in arms about this particular, like, go look this up, research it, because I know a lot of people who listen. There's a lot of fans who may be too young. I'm of the older crowd, and I remember this when the story, but this was a big deal. So, yeah, go look that up, because it's not something that's like breaking news right now. This is from like 15 years ago and older. But moving on. Site member Dr. Blindenberg has received a permanent ban for vehemence and bigotry after responding to the downvoting and deletion of their improperly formatted SCP with the following message. I'm sorry my idea only had 1. All the quality background work laid down, 2. Prepared multiple stories and connections to the rest of the universe, 3. The SCP is a fundamental part and well known in multiple cultures and mythologies, 4. Have a game almost ready to roll out that supports the story, 5. Doesn't harm, tweaks, or does any damage or issues in the universe itself. What it didn't have is a extremely politicized bullshit porno story and colorful bullshit for the mind, degenerated 12 years old people who can't guess their gender. I guess I will get a ban, but well, this is the price of opinion nowadays. Smiley face, good luck in the future. Site member AFC 15 was permanently banned for doxing and homophobia. I've seen a lot of people just like responding like that just to their articles getting like, you were past the deletion threshold, deleted. Like,
Yeah. It's like I get being upset of like, oh, something that you thought could be good is like, oh, no, people didn't really seem to like it that much. I get it. That sucks. But the point is like, take that in stride and like try to improve yourself. Not to like make up bullshit excuses and being like, oh no, the woke mob virus or whatever bullshit.
Yeah. People didn't like it because it ain't woke. That's not why. Maybe it's just not good, dude.
Yeah.
Try again.
Site member Dr. Spear received a permanent ban from the critique forums for bigotry after posting an overtly racist article idea to the idea critique forums. The post read, seeking green lights, yes, page type, SCP article, elevator pitch. The Balkans is an anomalous area of land that causes the inhabitants to grow violent tendencies and change them to only seek out death and destruction. Oh, this is already going to be good. Central narrative. The area known as the Balkans, or formerly Yugoslavia, is an anomalous area of land that inhabitants have been changed by the anomalous land, causing them to differ from regular humans to becoming violent death-seeking versions. That's main goal is to spread the influence and the land around them till everyone is part of the Balkans. Currently, they are fighting within and with each other, causing the spread to be minimal to none, but special containers procedures are to take any person that leaves the Balkan area and try to convert them into normal human tendencies. Anyone is to enter, then try to leave at time, no matter how long they have been in the area, are to be killed on sight, bodies then loaded up on rocket, then launched into the sun. A lot of run-on sentences on that one. Additional notes, I typed this out on mobile, so sorry if there's any grammar or spelling errors, and remember, do not visit the Balkans. Weirdly racist, but okay.
Site member Congo's Us. Congo is Us. That's an I, not an L. Site member Congo is Us received a permanent ban for malicious downvoting after it was discovered that they were disproportionately downvoting articles with the LGBTQ tag, as well as articles by a specific queer author. When informed of this ban, they replied, "No one has to go along with your goofy-ass policy. #StraightPride." Site member Torscat was permanently banned for racism and trolling after posting an article entitled SCP-1000-EX. As the article was deleted, we do not know exactly what it contained, but it's disconcerting to imagine what a racist troll's take on SCP-1000, an ape-human hybrid, might have been. Site member The Bius with a 7 instead of a Y received a permanent ban for posting Deus Vult on the discussion thread for a now deleted racist page with genocidal themes. What does that mean? I'm not familiar with that one.
I do not know exactly.
It's Latin. There is God something. I don't know what both is.
Let me look up.
Google.
Google.
I'm gonna Google this, and now the FBI is watching me.
It says it means God wills it. It was a battle cry used by Christian crusaders in the 11th century. So,
modern
yeah,
use.
that's
Modern use. The phrase has been used by racist organizations to promote the idea of liberation at the end of the sword in the name of God. The concept has appealed to neo-Nazi and far-right groups.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
All right. This next one is quite a long one, so buckle up. It has been stated that the comment section of any article about feminism will contain material that justifies feminism. For example, site member Pachelbel, who has received much milder punishments for vehemence in the past, has received a permanent ban for continued vehemency and behavior indistinguishable from trolling in forums, including several comments left on the discussion page for SCP-8980. As most of our listeners are probably aware, SCP-8980 is a deep well article about the relentless abuse of a humanoid anomaly previously employed by the Foundation. It's also a top-tier Yasi-Pasi article, so go check it out. The worst of this abuse is committed by her former boss, Dr. Burns, a character to whom the community has reacted with, seemingly, universal revulsion. At least until now. Patchable's initial comments including the following sentence: "Why do so many people love this intentionally dry, confusing, and largely uneventful story about a humanoid anomaly being needlessly hostile to Foundation staff that are pretty much just doing their jobs?" After being accused of not reading the article, they replied with the following. Strap in, this is a long one. "I didn't miss the point of the article. I disagree with said point. To me, the key to the entire thing is found in the initial meeting, where Burns attempts to be completely friendly and personable towards his coworker, and she tells him that he has to stick to protocol and call her 8980, not explicitly saying he should call her it, but that is the standard Foundation practice and she's insisting he follow standard practices. That tells me this has been her show from the beginning, that her anomaly is her own subconscious need to suffer and be a victim and have drama revolve around her. The ultimate version of cluster B personality disorders such as borderline PD and Munchausen syndrome. She projects agency onto external forces, notably by assuming malicious intentionality in the actions of others. Burns couldn't have just been late because traffic was bad, or because he had other work that was more important than her. No, he had to be doing it to show contempt for her. Her ego can't accept otherwise. She constantly escalates far beyond a reasonable response to anything he's previously said or done, and if she starts acting in kind, she's responsible for pushing him to that with her abilities. He's just one more device which she can use to harm herself. The final scene of him twirling his mustache, I firmly believe, is a phantasmagoric hallucination she's reality bent into existence. The final expression of her masochistic nature, martyring herself in a grand passion play and absolutely not caring about the man she uses to whip herself. I think the Burns at the beginning wouldn't recognize the one at the end, that it was a complete fabrication of the darkness within Lillian, the persecution complex that made her need to suffer so badly that it could bend reality without registering on instruments. I am a strong supporter of the ethical stances of the Founding Fathers, and the one that seems to be apt here is better for 1,000 guilty men to go free than one innocent man be jailed. I believe in Dr. Burns' innocence. He could have done so much worse if he was actually a bad guy, especially when he was erasing parts of her mind. Excluding the climactic scene, I see very measured and reasonable responses to relentless provocation. And FCOL, this is the Foundation. They feed 1,000 babies a year to a deer from Saturn. They wipe the memories of the entire planet. They sacrifice anything and everything necessary, killing millions to save billions from death and worse. Lillian was asked to live in a gilded cage for a year or two. Missing her family is really the only bad thing she had to endure. Sure, it's tragic, but it's a very minor sacrifice compared to MTF agents charging into a meat grinder or minor criminals becoming D-class test subjects. Lillian had been stoic and professional for longer than one goddamn week. She could have adapted to her new situation and accepted the reality that had been imposed on her, just like basically every human being since the dawn of history needed to do sooner or later. My house burned down 2 years ago, and now I live in a cheap, crappy apartment, having to work full-time for the rest of my life with no hope of career advancement just so I can make rent and food and electric bill and a phone. I'm not doing that much better than her, and I'm not degenerating into hystonics, whatever. I understand that there's a bigger picture and I'm not all that important. If she can't do the same, why did the Foundation ever recruit her? Wow.
So, I had to go, after discussing with you and Hawk on this one, I went back and read this individual's previous post. This guy is a douche. This guy is a massive douche.
He's a massive fucking douchebag. And, you know, it would be one thing, and we're just going to take a minute to actually talk about this because this is a whole fucking thing. It would be one thing if it was like, if one, he didn't actually read the article, and two, if, you know, if the article actually implied that it was all, that Lillian was somehow at fault, like this was, you know, her actually kind of pulling the strings. Don't know how that would make sense. A good writer like Yasi could potentially make that work. But if that was the case, then his argument might have made a little bit of sense, but that's not the fucking case whatsoever, because it's made very clear that she is literally the victim in all of this. She's not looking to be like, you know, oh, woe is the kind of like, oh, woe is me, I'm a victim kind of thing. No, she's an actual victim. She has had her bodily autonomy ripped away from her. There's a segment where it's all but straight up said that she's literally SA'd by Burns. Literally Burns going up to her and saying like, hey, I could have done all of this so much worse to you from the very beginning if I wanted to. You should be grateful. Like, it is very clear that Burns, by every definition, is a horrible, evil piece of shit human being. And to try to give any kind of defense for Burns after actually reading the article and still honestly trying to give some kind of defense that this guy does here is fucking abhorrent. And again, I know it's like, oh, well, it's a fictional character, it's a fictional story. Yeah, that doesn't make anything that happens to the characters in the story any less happen than it does in real life. Like, yeah, it's the foundation, it's supernatural, paranormal shit. Of course, it's all fictional. But the kind of shit that happens to Lillian happens to other people in real life. And whenever those people try to go forward and try to talk about this, try to confront the people that abuse them, that rob them of any kind of autonomy, they get shut down. They get told, oh, you know, that's all bullshit. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. They're gaslit into thinking, oh, the abuse that happened to them never fucking happened. You're just being a whiny little bitch. Get over it.
Institutionally as well, which is another theme of this article.
Yes, that's a whole major theme of the article, that the Foundation knows that this is happening, but they don't do shit to punish Burns because they think he's too valuable personnel.
And even after he's not valuable as a personnel, nothing.
Yeah. He gets his memory erased, and it's like, oh, well, you know, his memory is erased, so it wouldn't be right to go after him. Fuck off with that. The only kind of like saving grace in that article is like at the very end, revealing that it's actually connected to a previous Yasi article of 7777, which is a whole thing of like the ethics committee, you know, taking down a corruption in the foundation. A lot more goes into it than that, but still, it's Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, I 100% will admit when I'm wrong on this one. I'm wrong because my argument, and this is for everybody privately in the chat when we were talking about writing this blotter segment for this particular comment, I was like, look, and at face value, at the time, this is the only piece of any of this individual's comments that I had read. I was like, this is horrifically wrong, but it's a well-articulated argument for their horrifically wrong stance. And that actually, like, fight me. This is a well-articulated, horrifically wrong argument. He's not stumbling over his words. He is saying exactly what he means. There is no confusion at all about what this individual is saying.
Yeah.
But the responses to that article were the verbal or the written comment equivalent of throwing tomatoes from the crowd. And my point at the time was, I think we could do better than that. Right. And at face value, I really do think we could do better than that. And, you know, being the 40-year-old Democrat in the crowd, I do think we could do better than that, really, in general. However, after going back and doing some more research on this individual and their comments, it's been attempted in the past. And this is another one of those individuals who wrote an article for the wiki. It didn't get past the deletion threshold, and it got deleted. And then when people tried to give them critique, they argued about it. And then when people tried to give them more, you know, help them, not only did they argue about it, but then they wrote what could be read as like a miniature manifesto on why the wiki should change their rules. Like one of the statements he made was like, I'm not asking for an exception from my article. I'm asking for you to change your rules because they're stupid. Talking about the deletion threshold and, you know, the process for deleting articles that don't get voted above a certain point. So, yeah, there's no amount of intelligent argument that's going to get through to this individual. The right choice. I genuinely don't think this was trolling. I don't think it was trolling at all.
Yeah, and to add on a little bit, I really do think that, like, the way that, like, bigots and fucking fascists, like, will try to get, like, more leeway with people is through shit like this, of trying to give, like, a very well-articulated, like, oh, I'm very calm and collected kind of response. Because, you know, something I saw someone talk about is like a lot of bigot fascist assholes are nice people. Nice, I will say it. Because in the fact that it's like, oh, we imagine fascists being like, oh, like fucking, you know, obese beer gut rednecks who just, you know, want to say the N-word and saying like, oh, supporting Nazis. And there are people like that. Don't get me wrong. There are sadly plenty of people like that, but a lot of the time they tend to just look like regular people and try to give out that air of being like, oh, formality and everything, and being like, oh, you can approach me, oh, you can talk to me and everything. And for me, that's how they fucking get you. Yeah. Because they'll try to sway you and being like, oh, well, you see these people, oh, they're reacting with like, you know, anger and hatred, but I'm more calm and collected. Don't you think I'm the more reasonable choice to talk to? And I'm not saying like that's what you're saying whatsoever, Kelsey.
No. Like, there's dangerous people out there, like wolves in sheep's clothing is what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
And I do think that's what, you know, this asshole is trying to be, at least to some degree.
I'll just like tangent personal philosophy, kind of where I'm coming from. Spent time in the military, and you want to talk about one of the most diverse environments. It really is, like, because you're forced you're forced into this environment. The hiring process is there's no HR, right? And the people who are selected, so you're forced into this. And I'm not saying that as it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. This really melting pot, like it's a cross section of society that you're in, and you have to work alongside people in environments that you typically aren't exposed to, and that forces you to create bonds with people. Forces you to create bonds with people that you otherwise wouldn't in a normal workplace environment. Especially when you're in places where not only do you have to work with these people, but you have to live with them too. And in the military, whether we agree with it or not, you can be a straight up Nazi. There's rules that you have to follow, right? You can belong to white supremacist groups. You can belong to those kinds of things. There's rules that you have to follow. You can't do things publicly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can't espouse publicly. You can't tell other people. You can't invite other people to the things. But that's the same with, I go to church. I am a Mormon. Would you like to come to church with me? You can't do that either. So, in that experience, I have kind of developed this kind of personal philosophy of, when I choose my friends, I surround myself with people who I can disagree with and still remain friends. Even completely polar opposite, not necessarily straight up Nazis, but I definitely have people in my friend circle. There's hardcore Trump supporters in my friend circle who I can have that sword sharpening conversation with. They can talk about what they believe in why, and I can talk about what I believe in why, and we can voice our disagreements with each other in a way that we can still walk away, understand that we're not convincing each other to cross the line, and still be friends at the end of the day. The value that brings to me is that rather than surrounding myself with people who only believe the way that I do, what that would give to me is a set of values and beliefs that I can feel good about. And I feel good about these because I know that everybody else I know feels the same way. That's cool. But what I have now is a set of values and beliefs that I can stand on and that I know stand up to scrutiny, that I voluntarily submit them to. Oh, you voted for Trump? Tell me about, the policies of Trump that you support. Tell me about, what are the policies on that side that you don't support? What are the things that they're doing that you wish they weren't? Right? And to get those opinions and pull them in, and because there's also the opportunity to find common ground. And those are the things that allow you to walk away and say, hey, I actually do agree with you on that, and walk away and still be friends. And to have that, we can sharpen each other. We can make sure that I believe the things that I believe, not because I want to fit in with these guys, not because I want to feel good about it, but because I want to have a set of values and beliefs that I know that I can stand on and that will hold up to scrutiny in the face of it when it comes uninvited. So that's just kind of where when I pipe up and say hey, entertain this for a second. That's the kind of personal philosophy where I'm coming from. Now this guy, like I said, gone back, and this dude has proven himself to be a douche. I wouldn't engage this person in conversation knowing their history and everything, but that's where I come from on that. Sorry, tangent.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, I think we needed a little side tangent to talk about this for a second because holy shit.
A little palate cleanser. That was, man. Some people. But
that's not even the worst.
Here's another thing, and please don't take this the wrong way. SCP-8980 it's a sacred cow right now, right? It's something that people in the community feel very strongly about. It's something that everybody is going, if somebody says something negative about it, it's something that everybody is going to kind of swarm around that person and hurl stuff at them. And I challenge anybody, try to think, just do a thought experiment on SCP-8980. Is there any other way that you can think of it in your mind? Like, you don't have to, but can you see it from any other perspective? If you can, whether you can or can't, ask yourself what the ability to do that or not do that means to you. And take it from there. And that is just an exercise in critical thinking. I'm not trying to drive any agenda or agree with this guy. This guy is horrifically wrong. But when I see 8980, is it 8980? Did I say the numbers right?
Yeah. It's
8980. 8980 is like, it's everybody's favorite thing right now. And it's for good reason. It's very well written. It's very timely. It hits at something that it's very fucking appropriate for what's going on in society right now. Like, it really is. But when I see that kind of activity in collective, like the collective consciousness and collective people's minds, it's time to say, how can I look at this from a different perspective? Is this a sacred cow? How can I look at this possibly a different way? That's another kind of exercise that I've developed over time. And people don't like it. Like, this is the way that it is, and this is the way that I see it. And if you don't not seeing it that way, you're wrong. Okay, I see it the way that it is. I see the way that it's meant to be written. I understand what you're saying, but I can also allow myself to think about it like this, and think about it like this, and think about it like this. And that would help me to understand the thought processes of some idiot like this, why they would even believe the things that they're saying.
Yeah, because I think that there's a whole massive difference between shit like this motherfucker is saying and trying to do shit like, for example, there's an email at the very end of the article of, like, Lillian, who has been just fucking devastated and broken beyond belief by the entire experience that Burns and his associates put her through for years throughout how this article takes place, and the person who is essentially her caretaker is talking about how he's come to, like, really resent her and hate her because of, like, how take care of her. And don't get me wrong, this person is fucking wrong for thinking like that of her, but this trauma victim who legit cannot help reacting the way that she can due to the horrendous shit that was inflicted on her, but also understanding, like, why this person would think that way, of being like, oh, I have to take care of this person, and it feels like, oh, like, my needs aren't being met because of it, and I feel like, oh, they're just like a burden on me because of it. Again, the person is wrong for thinking that, but I understand why they think that.
Caretaker fatigue is a thing.
Yeah, I'm a caretaker myself. Like, I can understand that. It's wrong. Again, you don't have to think that the person is right or correct in any kind of capacity for thinking that, but you can understand why, at least.
Yeah.
And I agree that's what Kelsey is trying to, like, get across right now.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's a clear difference between, like, understanding a character with, like, caretaker fatigue, as you put it,
Mhm.
and a person who is just straight up saying like, oh no, all women are bitches and they're lying, and oh, it wasn't rape, stop saying that, get over it. Like, that's essentially what this guy is saying, so fuck him.
Well, that one was a
Anyway.
doozy, wasn't it? Given that we
Yeah.
organize these blotter segments in order of ascending severity, you might expect the guy out to defend the honor of Dr. Burns to be the last one. And in any other month, you'd be right. Not this one, though. On our last blotter segment, we noted that user Civilian Engineer 450 had their membership revoked for spamming the idea forums with low-quality feedback. Despite this being a mild punishment for a petty offense, Zin later received the following. Excuse me. Despite this being a mild punishment for a petty offense, Zin later received the following reply. Hello, Zin. I'm here to say that I'm trying to help others with their ideas in the Ideas Help Forum. Anything that I said is either trying to be helpful or not helpful but without intent. However, nonetheless, I know my rights and I reserve my First Amendment. Anyone who accused me of being hurtful shall be put into trial for false accusation. This is my one warning, Civilian Engineer 450. The message was regarded as threatening, resulting in Civilian Engineer 450's permanent ban. In response to this action, Civilian Engineer 450 replied, Dear SCP Foundation, Council, and staff, fuck y'all. I will find y'all sooner or later, and when I do, I'm gonna put shells of lead in your heads. Y'all messed up, I know my rights, and you should all respect the rights of Americans. This could have been avoided if y'all didn't revoke my membership when I was just helping in the Ideas Forum. This message was also signed with what appears to be Civilian Engineer's full legal name. Since our last blotter segment, fuck, 72 users have been warned or disciplined for AI usage. Highlights includes Not a Ton, who accidentally included one of the prompts they used in the text of their article, CFRK, who admitted to not reading the site rules and instead instructed ChatGPT to summarize the site's application requirements, and EJ2025, who accidentally included the AI's response to their prompt in their article's text, causing their article to begin with, here's the revised SCP entry written in the third person and with a more mysterious tone. This offense resulted in a membership revoke, which was escalated to a permanent ban after staff concluded that the message they sent apologizing for AI use and promising not to use AI in the future was also AI generated due to it being more eloquent and using more sophisticated language than their other forum posts.
All right. And looking at the year to come. At the beginning of January, the SCP Wiki released its monthly newsletter. The article contained a relatively detailed retrospective on the previous year, including the article writer Uncle Nicolini's favorite work from each month of 2024. However, the most notable information in January's site news wasn't what the year that had gone, but the new year that was to come. The article contained a table giving a rough outline of when each of 2025's contests and site events would be held. The table deliberately did not give exact dates, as contests aren't meant to be properly prepared for, but nevertheless contained some interesting information. It announced that there will be a team contest later in January, more on that in a moment. In March, there will be an international team contest, as well as a repeat of last year's spring cleaning event. July will be host to an art and writing contest. The Skiptember art event will occur in September as usual, and the annual art exchange will occur near the end of the year as normal. However, by far the most interesting piece of information provided was the fact that staff should expect the SCP-9000 contest to take place in October of 2025. Precisely when in the month it would take place is still up in the air, and we know nothing about its theme. But this is still far more advanced notice than we've ever had for a KCON before.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
When was 8KCon? It was just January. It was January. It was a year
January.
ago.
I think it was January 2024.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Okay, it was 1/8 because I remember when they put the announcement. I was like 1/8. Yeah. Holy shit. Two consecutive years. That's crazy. Ooh, public domain. Most of January came and went with us only knowing that there was a team contest inbound, but on the 25th, the contest page for the new team event dropped. The event will be Public Domain Con. In it, writers will organize themselves into teams of 3, and each team will select a single pre-existing public domain character and create a body of work including at least one SCP and one tale pertaining to them. Teams are required to produce at least 3 works. They may produce as many more as they wish, but only the 4 highest rated will count toward their final score. Currently, there are 26 assembled teams listed on the hub page, but that number is likely to increase in the coming days. Public domain characters who have currently been selected include Gilgamesh, Odysseus, John Watson, James Moriarty, Arsène Lupin. Did I say that right? Arsène Lupin?
I don't know.
Alice from Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter, Moby Dick, Captain Ahab, Spring-Heeled Jack, Dracula, a particularly brilliant choice made by a literary genius of immeasurable stature. Who was that? Nosferatu, Abraham Van Helsing, Captain Nemo, Orlando, Robin Hood, the Archangel Gabriel, Pinocchio, Beowulf, Circe,
Nyarlathotep.
Nyarlathotep, Cthulhu, yes, the Hound of Tyndalos, Yashilda, and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, the only character to be chosen by 2 different teams thus far. As you may have noticed, there are several cases where different teams have claimed characters originating from the same mythos. But these teams are opponents and will not coordinate with one another, and this is likely to result in divergent interpretations of some of these characters. If, for example, the team that chose Abraham Van Helsing portrays their own take of Dracula in their work, which doesn't wind up matching what the Dracula team does. You know who I didn't notice in that just came into public domain?
What?
Like the 23 and 24, Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is public domain. And Tigger, too. House on Pooh Corn went into public domain in 24.
Hopefully it'll be better than the fucking shitty horror movies that have been made on him.
They're making a second one. Now, because Tigger came along in House on Pooh Corner. That didn't hit public domain until 24, so now they're making a sequel with Tigger in it. I had to look all this up because there was at the Playhouse I volunteer. I'm on the play reading committee, and one of our local playwriters wrote a Winnie the Pooh play, and somebody was like, "No, we can't do this." It's. I was like, "Actually, yeah, they can because Winnie the Pooh is in public domain." But then they put like a bunch of Disney Winnie the Pooh stuff in it. I was like, "Yeah, actually, no, now we can't do this because it's Disney shit." So you gotta get that out of there.
On a heavier note, staff member Napic made a post earlier this month to reignite discussion regarding the disgraced staff member Admin Bright. Once an extremely prominent member of the community and site admin, Admin Bright was once best known for creating the silly, wacky, fun character Jack Bright, who is almost certainly the single most well-known human character in SCP history, sadly.
Just real quick, did you read Napic's post?
I was not able to.
So we had Napic on the show. Napic is very calm, cool, collected individual, very well articulated. That post was like, fuck this shit, guys. I am fucking sick of this. People won't leave me the fuck alone. We're gonna fucking do this. Like, go read that post, the original post from Napic. Like, Napic was not fucking around.
Firing on all cylinders. Apparently.
Yes.
However, in 2022, Admin Bright was permanently banned from the wiki for unwelcome sexual attention, including sending users sexual images, pressuring sexual discussion or interaction, or repeated unwanted flirting, and repeated inappropriate social contact, such as requesting or assuming inappropriate levels of intimacy with others. Notably, the recipients of much of this alleged behavior were minors. Admin Bright's ban is certainly a victory for his alleged victims, but it did not erase his legacy from the site. In 2023, staff elected to remove the things Dr. Bright is not allowed to do at the Foundation, a joke page written largely by Admin Bright himself. Around the same time, author DJ Cactus replaced every mention of Dr. Bright in his work, renaming the character Elias Shaw. Many other authors followed suit or invented other characters to replace him. Now, the discussion is being reignited, with Napick proposing that the staff go ahead, seek further to eliminate Admin Bright's legacy by removing some of his material from the site. Though 19 of Bright's articles remain on the main list, discussion has largely centered around 2 of these. SCP-963, the magical amulet which made Dr. Bright immortal and allowed him to possess others, and SCP-1004, a hard drive created by the factory containing a large amount of pornography, which caused users to become addicted to its contents. 963 is by far his most popular article and a foundation of the mythos surrounding the character that made his name so recognizable. 1004 is on the chopping block for its highly sexual themes and due to the belief that it was also used by him as a grooming tool. Tales Admin Bright himself wrote about these articles, including one where he himself, not his self-insert character, was transported into the SCP universe and became addicted to SCP-1004, having also been mentioned during these discussions. This discussion has been vibrant and elicited a wide variety of opinions from different users. There is a general agreement that something needs to be done, and that is not acceptable for these articles to remain on site in their current form. This is both because they serve as a reminder of Bright's actions and because, as user Pair of Ducks puts it, they were in fact the method by which he established authority to groom his victims. Many users cited the fear that he is still engaging in similar behaviors in off-site communities, and that these articles remain an asset to him as he does so. Though the need to do something is generally agreed upon, many users and staff members are nervous about the precedent it would set for staff to unilaterally delete an article. This is not a power site staff currently have, and some worry that it could be misused in the future. Others have dismissed the idea, arguing either that it's worth it or that worrying about future precedent is absurd in the face of circumstances this extreme. The overall consensus among staff and prominent users seems to be that this decision should not be made unilaterally by staff, but rather subject to community vote, just as the removal of the things Dr. Bright is not allowed to do at the Foundation was in 2023. In the event articles are removed, this is further dispute regarding what, if anything, to replace them with. The idea of rewriting SCP-963 and 1004 was proposed, but does not seem to be favored by many. For example, author Harry Blank said, "Absolutely, positively, under no circumstances put this shit up for a rewrite. Bright will require continued credit if that was to be done. Do not put Admin Bright in latest posts, please and thank you." This leaves essentially 2 options. Replacing the articles with statements from staff informing readers of Admin Bright's alleged misconduct, or replacing them with unrelated SCP articles. Some users have expressed fears that the former approach would potentially result in a libel lawsuit from Admin Bright himself, who, despite his disgraced status within the SCP community, has not been charged with, let alone convicted of, any crime. At this point, it seems very likely that a community vote will decide the fate of at least SCPs 963 and 1004, and perhaps all of Bright's works. Assuming they were removed, his only remaining legacy on the site will be mentions of Jack Bright and other authors' works. Some community members have raised the idea that these 2 should be removed, perhaps by replacing them with mentions of Elias Shaw or other characters, though none of these proposals have come from members of Wiki staff.
There is another staff discussion that's happening in kind of parallel to this one, and it's very much related to this one, and it's about it's a separate staff discussion about basically staff power to delete users' articles. Around the same time as this discussion started, one of the wiki's older users, I believe it was Kalinin, made a request to staff to basically delete all of their shit. Then there was another staff post about, okay, hold on. We need to actually decide as a staff and a site and a community, like, we're talking about the bright thing, we're talking about nuking these two. We've already talked about what to do with the rest of them. We got rid of the bright list. Now we've got, we've had precedent in the past where users have, authors have requested all of their things to be deleted, and these are articles that have propped up a lot of other articles. What do we do? There is an background thought process on this. This is just coming from a graduate degree in management and organizational leadership. I did my graduate research on managing change in bureaucratic governmental organizations. I know a little bit about what the fuck I'm talking about. This is a major issue. This is a major fundamental issue. These two conversations that are happening right now between deleting Bright's works, and even more major is the conversation about what to do with author articles and the conversation of author autonomy. The reason that this is a major issue is because what happens when an author writes an article and puts it on the wiki is that article becomes the property of the commons. That's not a feature of the SCP Wiki. That's a feature of the license that the SCP Wiki chose to use. Now you have an organization that's built around this license. You have a creative writing community that's built around this license. And you are trying to maintain author autonomy in a community that's built around a license that when an author creates something, they give it away, not to the SCP Wiki, to the world. That's the Creative Commons license. It doesn't belong to the SCP Wiki. Whatever's on the SCP Wiki belongs to everyone in the world. Anyone who wants to use it and follow the rules of CC by SA 3.0, anyone can do whatever they want, however they want to derive it, as long as they follow those CC by SA 3.0 rules. Those two things, author autonomy, I want to make sure that this author has control over their articles, over the things that they write in this community. It belongs to everyone. Those two things are going to have, as this community grows and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and we start having KCONs 1 year apart, we start having KCONs in the same year, the bigger this community gets, the harder those two things are going to be able to exist at the same time. And the SCP Wiki staff needs to figure it the fuck out. Like, now. That is a major issue. It's a fundamental issue. It is fundamental to who you are as a creative writing community. The license that your authors create their creative writing under, and the way that you manage that. If those two things don't align, it's not going to be a stable framework. You're not going to be able to manage it. And what the staff is going to wind up doing is you're going to have your entire staff is going to be the little Dutch boy with their finger in a hole in the dike. Every single one of you is going to be plugging holes all the time. And it's going to be exhausting, and you're not going to be able to maintain it. That's my expert opinion. That's a major issue that you guys really need to figure out sooner rather than later, because we're talking about 9K Con being what, 18, 19, 20, 21 months after 8K Con. You're seeing exponential growth in the community. You're seeing a whole lot more issues from people coming in that are writing works. You're seeing racism and bigotry, and you're seeing a lot more of the things that on-site, like main player on-site users complain about from the off-site. You're seeing a lot more of that off-site mindset trickling in. You're already going to have enough of a pain in the ass dealing with that. You got to get the licensing thing, and you got to get those two things aligned. It's going to hurt. But yeah, I agree with Harry for sure.
Yeah, Harry.
Absolutely.
I absolutely think that, like, with what happens to articles like 963 and 1004, just make something completely new or original to replace them. Do not give these things rewrites. Do not let Bright give any kind of credit for them whatsoever. I do not want that fucking pedophile to have any kind of foothold in the community anymore.
And to be clear on the deletions issue, anybody can delete their stuff, right? There's nothing that says you as an author, as far as author autonomy goes. If I go onto the wiki and I write a work and it survives, right? At any point in time, while I'm still a member, I can go and nuke my own stuff. I can go and delete everything I've ever written. The issue is we have members who they leave. They go away, and for whatever reason, maybe they delete their accounts. Well, once your account is deleted, you can't like recreate the same account that created those works and then delete them. So if you've deleted your account and then you have 100 different articles on the site, you can't delete them. So if you want them deleted, you have to go and ask the site staff, hey, I want my articles deleted. That's the issue that came up with the article deletion, and site staff is like, this is extra work for us, right? And this is me imploring site staff, look beyond that. Look beyond this is extra work for us, and look at, hey, this is a fundamental licensing thing. Like this author gave it to the community. And in that thread, I 100% agree with Rounderhouse that there is no other website, no other community in the history of anyone ever, anything, anywhere that when a user deletes their account and they come back and they ask the site staff, hey, will you do this for me? Then they just go and do it. Like once you delete your account, it's deleted. Like you basically have said, I don't want this anymore. But I also understand this, the site staff's concern for it, and it's a terrible, like between a rock and a hard place. Because here's the example. Let's say an author writes something, and you know this is a sensitive person. They write something, it survives, and you get these offsite assholes like this guy that come in, you know, that commented on Yassi's work. And maybe they dox the author, maybe they bully the author, and that author is like, fuck this, I don't want it. You know, they start getting harassed, and because of that, they want to delete their stuff. They delete their account. That's what site staff wants to preserve. The ability to protect the authors in those cases. And they don't want to take that away from them. And it's a terrible, like, it's almost like Sophie's Choice. Like, I have to choose this or this. That's the hard part about being in charge. Like, you have to make those decisions and manage around those really difficult things. But fundamentally, it's the commons. So once somebody writes something, once Jack Bright writes all of his things, they belong to the community. They belong to everyone. And you can delete whatever you want off of the wiki. All those YouTube channels, they're still going to be there. All of those, you know, off-site things, they're still going to be there. All you can control is what's on the wiki. So it's wild. The commons is wild, man. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Since our last episode, there have been 70 new SCP articles and 70 new tales. This was a rough estimate from me because I could not go back all the way to when our, you know, last episode was like fucking beginning of December.
Yeah.
So right. Yeah, that's a rough estimate, so don't quote me on that. As for any favorites that we've had the last 2 months, hands down, top favorite, the long-awaited bone proposal from Rounder House, Black Adytum, which is Rounder's reimagining of Sarcasm for the Red Tape canon that he's been developing for several years now. I won't go into detail about it. The plot is kind of extensive, but it once again, another banger by Rounder House. Great follow-up to both Amoniram and Mamjul and Karar. I really enjoyed his interpretation of Sarcasm, and I say this as someone who, Metaphysician, the creator of Sarcasm, among like other stuff like Allegata on the wiki, is probably my top favorite wiki author of all time. Like, his works are fucking phenomenal. His like original interpretation and meaning for Sarcasm is always going to take my favoritism, my priority over it. That does not mean that I did not enjoy Rounder's interpretation of it. I still thought that it was a very a very interesting take on it, while I still believe kept to the original spirit of what Meta had intended for Sarcasm in general, and Rounder's giving his theme overall of this story of being like essentially absolute power corrupting absolutely, and how far one could be willing to go for the sake of what they call good intentions. Again, I'm not really going to try to go into detail or spoil anything, because it's a phenomenal story. Rounder House absolutely cooked for this. So yeah, again, that's the Bone Proposal, Black Adytum. That's going to be, link to that is going to be in the show notes, so check it out. The other one that I want to give a shout out to is SCP-8702, Vathek and Theseus Go to Chipotle by Dave You Fool. Dave is also another one of my favorites on the wiki. His articles and essentially almost everything that he creates is so fucking bizarre and out there, and just very comedic in tone and writing, but also he somehow, to me, always really gives the point of what he's going for, always gives the right tone for the story that he goes for. And god damn it, even with the bizarre fucking batshit writing that he can give, he can always somehow manage to give like an emotional pull to his stories. And this one of essentially being like a Foundation researcher who his arm essentially gets taken over by some sort of like extra dimensional entity, and hijinks ensue is what I'll say about it for the plot. Again, another banger by Dave. Again, that one link is going to be in the art and the show notes as well, so go check that out. You got any favorites that you want to give a shout out for?
Not this time, man. I mean, like I said at the beginning, like I have been saturated, and then there's like weeks of being sick in between too, between me and the rest of the family. So yeah, no, not this time around.
All right, fair enough. But for now, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with off-site news.
Come in. 15, are you receiving? 15, we lost contact for over 10 minutes. What's going on?
I'm not 15. I'm Taylor. It's Taylor Wrangler.
Hey? Why are you using 15's gear? What happened to 15?
15's dead, man. He's killing us. He's killing us all.
What?
He took my legs.
Who's doing this? Hey, what the hell is...
Abel. Oh God! Oh God! He's found me! Oh God! You people killed me! What have you done to me? Bo! Bo! What have you done?
8? Come in. 8! 8! Shit. God damn it. Reestablish visual contact at Site 310.
Sir, we don't have...
Use the back doors if you have to. Get me visuals now.
All right.
Christ.
Terrible. Dear God, who could have done this?
You know who, Jay.
Well, where is he then? What the hell was that?
It's him. Where does that hallway lead?
The cafeteria.
Jesus. What the fuck does he want?
Sir, I'm pulling up the site layouts. I think based on his movement, he's heading for the control room.
What? He's trying to activate the warheads?
Sir, we're gonna have to do it. We need to activate Protocol Beta 1. The neurotoxins.
No. No, no. There has to be another.
There are 36 Keters contained at that site.
There are over 200 personnel working there. It floods the entire building.
They're already dead, Kane. They're gonna die along with the rest of the world if we don't do this.
All right. Christ. Please. Please let this be enough to stop it. Let there still be enough time. Oh God. He's coming. He's... Wait, what the fuck?
Sir, the activation code!
You knew him as the second son of Adam. You knew him as General Bo's weapon of mass destruction. You knew him as O76-2, the murdered murderer. But have you ever known him as a plushie? That's right, loyal Marshall Carter and Dark Limited customers. It's the first sword of Davon, Abel Ben Adam, now available to purchase from your local MC&D retailers and also online. For just $50 plus shipping, this 20-centimeter foam and fluff replication of the Wanderer of 1,000 Winters will be yours. Comes with several amazing features such as completely accurate anatomical insides, entirely composed of the finest quality of PP cotton, the ability to communicate telepathically to other able plushies. They're talking to each other. We think. Probably some riveting stuff. And last but not least, removable clothing for any tasteful, artistic endeavors. Get your hands on the sexiest murder hobo that Anomalous Tumblr has to offer. Just go to this link. Remember, pre-orders are available until November 7th, and product is expected to be shipped out by winter 2025. Buy now. Please. Please, they're... Come on, guys, please. They have my family. They're gonna kill me and my family if we don't sell this. Please, just... No. Wait. No. No, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not...
And there you have it, folks. That was the latest ad featuring the Marshall Carter Dark limited time only trademark patent pending Able plushie line of products. Sickening stuff. Now, my guest here today, I'm sure, is one you'll recognize. How are you doing today, Mr. Able? Your silence speaks louder than words. Having somehow been inexplicably transformed into a soft, huggable form sometime during a Great Site 310 catastrophe, it hasn't been easy for Abel here. Especially not after Marshall Carter and Dark's attempts to mass clone him and profit off of his image. Completely deprived of any royalties and permanently barred from Omega 7, Abel is now essentially... What? What's happening? What's going on? Why is it doing that? Can it do that? He shouldn't be able to? Abel, stop. I said stop. Alright, thank you. Abel is now essentially without hope, and so he is here today to share his sad tale. But first off, Abel, we have some burning questions sent in by the viewers. So to start off with our first segment of the day, Q and Abel, Paragon Fan 77 would like to ask, how's your relationship with your father like? Abel? Do we know if King got turned into a Russian too? God, I fucking hate the writer's strike.
Thanks to our sponsor, Hamster Interruption Story by Dado. Dado is Tate business partner and hamster robot Mitchell on holiday due to successful business. However, Dado has then received call from strange man who want animal medicine for pain. Dado is not Vortimarius, however, Dado is resourceful and also have wide knowledge of many animal intervals, so Dado is make medicine. Also, apologies, Robert Mitchell is due a great mischievousness on keyboard and story, so please forgive Dado for this. Thank you.
And now, in the world of offsite news. The long-awaited project SCP Fragmented Minds has finally come out with a release date. For the past several years, a dedicated team comprised of gaming programmers, wiki authors, and offsite artists have been working hard to bring the community one of the most ambitious projects it has ever seen, as you arrive at Mars Site 113, a decaying monument to the SCP Foundation's ambitions and its failures. Once the most secure facility, now a cradle of horrors calling to you to uncover its secrets. Face relentless anomalies, humanity's darkest truths, and a mission that demands survival above all else. Inspired by games like Prey, Control, and Alien Isolation, Fragmented Minds promises to deliver a perfect blend of action and survival-based horror, with a strong emphasis on crafting, immersive combat, and character interaction. Chapter 1 is set to release on Steam Early Access on January 27th. The link to the official trailer and the Steam page is in the show notes.
Finally, this is the one with Radiger in it, isn't it?
Yeah, and also the one that Jade was also working with, of giving like I think like specifically for the Plague Doctor.
Hell yeah. The Kickstarter for the new upcoming graphic novel Maze of Shelves has ended. For those unaware, a team of artists and writers within the SCP community launched a crowdfunding campaign to create a new graphic novel based on SCP-3008, The Infinite IKEA. From the words of the team themselves, what would someone truly encounter in an infinite store beyond strange objects and lurking dangers? What about the people trapped there? Who are they? What brought them to this endless maze? And how do they hold on to hope when escape feels impossible? Maze of Shelves dives deep into these questions, exploring not just the horror but the humanity within the anomaly. Follow Fred and a group of survivors as they navigate the secrets of the store and the depths of their own resilience. Finishing with just over $7,400, the team met more than twice the original goal, and as a result, are able to bring the novel to life in full color among other rewards. Set to release later this year, feel free to check it out for yourself and order yourself a copy. The link will be in the show notes.
SCP content creator and friend of the show, The Sherm of Site42, has finally hit 1 million subscribers on his YouTube channel this past week.
Yeah, it only took TikTok going down for 12 hours.
Yeah. Sherm has been making content for this community since June of 2015, and in all honesty has long since deserved this huge milestone in his career. From SCP readings to informative short-form videos on social media, Sherm has been responsible for bringing a whole mess of people into the SCP community with his charm, talent, and sheer determination to bring joy to others through what he does. Sherm, if you're watching this, we are beyond proud of you and what you've done for this community. It would not be the same without you. Link to his YouTube channel will be in the show notes. Subscribe if you haven't. I don't know why the fuck you're not subscribed if you're not already. What is wrong with you?
That's all we have for this week. Thanks to our patrons, Arsfel, Ian Anderson, and Evan McDonnell for supporting us at patreon.com/SCP Weekly. Your support helps us keep the lights on. Doesn't help us keep the words straight, but it does things. Intro and outro music was Caught You at the Perfect Time by Superintendent McCupcakes. SCP Weekly is distributed by Smooth Cadence Productions. SCP Weekly is not affiliated with the SCP Foundation Wiki, and as such, the opinions presented in this program are our own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Wiki or its staff.
Music is provided by Epidemic Sound.
Content relating to the SCP Foundation, including the SCP Foundation logo, is licensed under Creative Commons Share-alike 3.0, and all concepts originate from the SCP Wiki and its authors. This recording being derived from this content is also released under CC by SA 3.0. Until next time, I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Nolan, the K is silent, and this was SCP Weekly.
Oh, man.
Damn, feeling lucky. Out above most streets, us two in these trees. Diamonds on my feet, caught up in these talks. Circling my head top, should've been more cautious. Now I got what I wanted. Many I've been here before, made it out of 11 more. Like my frontal cortex, so I can't stop. I want it all. Listen up, I'm calling you. I need you to tell the truth. Remember when you wanted to. Remember that I said was you. Caught you at the perfect time. I was watching it then. You know what you wanna do, but I can never be your friend. Got me reading between the lines. Girl, you got me so blind. You know what you wanna do, so I can never be your friend. Man and the men don't we kinda turn around, eat your greens. When you fight, but you do real clean. Then you come to the bed and you love real dirty. It's everybody sweater drops, you're real keen. Bring it, let me get your juiciest piece. Can't remember when I've had the same please. The shops of the club never had no boundary. How's it gonna be? You wanna eat these centipedes? Where we gonna go? You're gonna need these calories. Giving me a treat to refill these batteries. Then you only them on your knees, there's no way to dream. Ooh, it's sneaking up on you. There's nothing you can do.